Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If we can take our seats so we can get underway for what is going to be, I believe, a fantastic evening of music. My name is Stuart Kent and I'm the high school principal here at Seoul Foreign School, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all here this evening. Over the last 2 days, a group of 250 students have been working incredibly hard to prepare for this evening. They are slowly becoming masters of their craft, and tonight we have the benefit of sitting and listening to them perform with guest conductors. But there are some thanks that we need to give, and I just want to start by thanking all of the SFS technical and theatre staff for their work they've done over the last 2 days. If we can give them a big round of applause for their efforts. There's another group in the audience that, on behalf of the students and the band directors and choir directors and orchestra directors, that we need to thank, and that is the parents. You have made sacrifices so your children can learn these instruments. And I want to thank you for supporting them, for standing by them, for making them practice when they don't want to. So let's give a big round of applause to the parents for all of their contributions to tonight's success. It would go without saying that without teachers who are dedicated to helping students become musicians today, yesterday and tonight would not be possible. So without too much more thanks, we do need to thank the teachers for all the work they've done with this group of students. So let's give them a really big, rousing applause for everything they've done tonight. On behalf of the audience and the teachers and parents, students, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your dedication. I want to thank you for your hard work. I look forward to this evening and hearing the music that you produce. It's our tradition here at Seoul Foreign School to open an evening like this in prayer. So if you will just bow with me, I will dedicate this time. Lord, we thank you for the gifts and talents that these young people have, for the hours of dedication, practice, for the frustrations and the joys. Lord, you have blessed them. We thank you for their willingness to perform, their ability to perform, and the freedom to perform music tonight. Be with them, calm their nerves, may their adrenaline flow, may they give the performance of their lives. Amen. And I'd like you all to welcome Jack Brown to the stage to kick off the evening. Thank you.
Thanks very much. He stole an awful lot of my speech, but I'm so glad he did, because then that means you don't have to listen to me talk as much, right? I'm the choir director at Korea International School. I am also the president of Korea International Music Educators Association this year. And on behalf of that organization of teachers who he just thanked, I would like to welcome you here tonight for the concert. You know, in this time of history where we are, we get a lot of emphasis in our schools on teaching what they call STEM, the science and technology and engineering and mathematics stuff, which is great stuff, wonderful stuff to learn. These kids this weekend have shown an amazing and wonderful and remarkable dedication to something different, to the arts, to another side of being human. Just as that side of the brain that is the side that works on science and mathematics and those sorts of things is an important element of being human, so is the side that produces music. And the side that produces music actually uses just about all of those talents, because you have to do all of the analysis of the music and the working hard on the music and getting the notes right and getting the fingerings right and all of those sorts of things. And then you have to turn it into a piece of magic. In the past 2 years when I've been coming to this thing, I've been able to sit in on the choir rehearsals a lot and listen to them a lot. This year, because I've been president, I have barely been able to attend a rehearsal at all, because I keep having to go off and do money things and administrative things and planning things. So I get into the beginning of a choir rehearsal and maybe 4 minutes into it and I say, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And then I come in an hour and a half later and they sound like angels. And it's just absolutely incredible. I know the band and the orchestra probably people could say the same thing about them too. These students and their directors have put in some awesome work, not only learning the notes, but creating works of art, which is what we're here for tonight. You will notice that I am dressed in jeans. That is because from this moment forward, I am no longer serving as KAIAC-KIMEA president tonight. I'll be taking this jacket off, and I'll be moving stuff on stage and off stage and all that sort of stuff. So I wasn't going to dress in a suit for that, right? That means it's time for me to be quiet and take that role and let these kids start making the sounds that they're here to make. Before we do that, I have to introduce some people who are going to introduce those directors, or the person who's going to introduce the first director, and that would be the woman who directs orchestras at APIS, Asia Pacific International School, Emily Johnson. She's going to tell you more about the orchestra director.
Hello, I'm so excited to introduce to you our guest conductor for the orchestra. His name is Mr. Ray Ostwald, and he comes to us from Grammy Award-winning York Community High School in Elmhurst, Illinois. Mr. Ostwald is sought after as a clinician, having conducted many honor orchestras and youth orchestras around the United States and now in Korea. He's sought after as a student teacher advisor, and he has published many works on what it means to be a fine music educator. He's done excellent work with our students, and I'm so excited for you to hear what they've done together. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ray Ostwald.
Many thank yous have already been expressed eloquently by our previous speakers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the invitation to be here. Thank you for the time with these wonderful students yesterday and today. They have proven to be open to new ideas, enthusiastic about working hard, hardworking, creative, thoughtful, and just outstanding young people. I reminded them today, and I'll remind you, never to forget how amazing it is what takes place on stage, what takes place in rehearsal, what takes place in any ensemble, and all of the ensembles you'll hear in this concert. The students' brains are doing so many things at once. They've mastered the art of reading the notation of dots and dashes, circles, signs, symbols, Italian terms, terms in other languages. They've mastered the difficulties of, in this case, the string instruments, using the fingers, both hands, different joints, very subtle motions that create different tone colors and shades simultaneously. We put them in a group. We ask them to read that notation. We ask them to do all of those physical things. We ask them to assess what they're hearing from their own instrument. And then we ask them to compare and contrast that with the players around them in their own section. But then it's an ensemble. And we ask them to be aware of the other sections. How does what you're doing compare to what's across the stage in the different sections of the orchestra? Meanwhile, there's somebody up front with a sign language. They've also learned to interpret. What does this mean? What do these different signals mean? And they're interpreting that and adjusting, making decisions, problem solving in a fraction of a second constantly throughout every piece. The good news is they can do these things. And with each new combinations of things they do, whether it's a strong left hand and a light right hand, slowing down while getting louder, every different combination of these 12, 15, 18 different things that they do builds another neural pathway in their brain. The strength of these problem-solving thought processes applies to everything they do. Be it the aforementioned science, technology, English, math, or designing something new, or having a new idea, thinking outside of the box. All of the collaborative, cooperative communication skills apply to everything they do. And it's a joy to share with you some of the final work of the pieces that we've done. I reminded the students that there's a process of learning. They're wonderful teachers, and the students worked on the music in the early parts of that process. We had our process yesterday and today. Years ago, I might have said, and here's the product. But I'm getting older and wiser, or crazier. This isn't the product. We're delighted to share it with you. The product is the students. The product is the human beings walking out of this place. Changed, enhanced, new in new ways. That's the product, the students. I have a small homework assignment for those of you in the audience. It's school, there has to be homework. Not everyone in the world is here, not everyone in the community or the school communities is here. We ask that you, in the next few days, share what you've seen and heard with someone else who wasn't able to join us. It may not make the media to everyone, so share the good news. It's a delightful homework assignment to do. For those of you who are overachievers, high achievers, I've met your children. I know you're out there. Share that thought with an administrator, someone in charge of a school system, and make sure they're reminded. We assess all of our learning. This homework assignment will be assessed, but not for a while. This homework assignment is assessed when we see that every child of these young people has the opportunity to study music, orchestra, band, choir, dance, sculpture, theater, poetry, when they're in school. Thank you again, and enjoy a piece by Mendelssohn. I want to mention the Mozart piece was written when he was approximately the age of the students on stage. The piece by Mendelssohn we're about to perform was composed when Mendelssohn was actually a few years younger than most of the students on stage. But that takes nothing away from the musicianship. Thank you again, and enjoy Mendelssohn.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Melinda Baum. I'm the choral liaison for the board, the KAIAC board, and I am very honored and pleased to introduce the guest director for the National Honor Festival Choir. His name is Dr. Pat Patton, and he is recently retired from Casper College in Casper, Wyoming. He got his doctoral degree from the University of Missouri in Kansas City. He has been a guest clinician, director, adjudicator over 400 times in 4 continents, and you can read all about him in your program. I have witnessed a wonderful transformation in the last 2 days. He has so much energy, and for me to watch him, it has impacted my own life, and to see him work with these students and turn all these individual students into an all-star choir has been amazing. I'm sure that what they are carrying with them, the memory of this event, will be with them for the rest of their life. So would you please give a warm welcome to Dr. Pat Patton.
Consecrate the place and day to music and Cecilia. Consecrate, 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 consecrate the place and day. Let no rough waves approach, no daring.
I am pleased to introduce to you 4 soloists who will be featured on Dixit, the Dixit Dominus from Mozart's Vespers of the Solemn Vespers of the Confessor. And they are singing soprano Cindy Lim, who is a senior at KIS. Her music teacher is Jack Brown. She's been studying voice for 3 years. Singing alto for us is Stephanie Reyes. She is a junior from the International Christian School. Her music teacher is Ross Sorter. Singing tenor for us is Peter Kung. He's a senior from Korean International School, and Jack Brown is his teacher. And finally, Hyun Jae Moon, who's singing bass for us from also the Korean International School, and Jack Brown is his instructor as well.
Dominus. Exultemus et in
It was called Little Birds. We had some big birds. There's the biggest cricket that I've ever seen in my life. Could we hear the cricket again? Isn't that, it's a big cricket. All of them, you can tell that our days together have been great, but all of them spent time creating different bird sounds because Eric Whitaker asked us to create different bird sounds that they would come from the choir. And so they created those things, and you can imagine what it was like the first day as we heard all these birds coming out, and they were just coming from everywhere. But they have been wonderful to work with. And I have some thank yous that I would like to make as well. None of this can happen unless the students have had the music for some time, and they have dedicated teachers that will prepare them, so that those of us that are choral clinicians and band clinicians and orchestra directors, we come in and we take all the glory, but all the work was done long beforehand. So I see some of the choir directors out here in the audience, but I would invite all the choir directors to please stand, and would you help me thank them for all that they have done to prepare all this. You can thank them as well. As well. Thank you to the school administrators and to this school here for opening up your home to us. I do a lot of these all over the world, but mostly in the United States. And what I'm pleased about is that I've had the opportunity to come back to Asia. It's been a long time since I've been here. And I did one of these in Bangkok several years ago, and came here even during the Vietnam War and was with the USO and singing for American servicemen, even here in Korea. But it's been such a long time, and I had forgotten how warm you are, how hospitable you are, and how dedicated to the arts you are. And you have taught me again and inspired me to go home and be better. And so thank you for this time that I've had you. Especially, I would like to thank Melinda and Dawn Baum. Melinda's here, there she is, right there on the piano working again for us. But she hosted me the first night that I came here, and Jack's going to host me tomorrow night. But thanks, Melinda. It was great to get to know you, and I had the opportunity to work with her choir, so I appreciate that. And especially my friend Jack Brown, who's actually from Idaho. We met there in the first place, and then Melinda's from Colorado, I found out. So for those of you that know or don't know, Idaho and Colorado and Wyoming in the United States are what we call the Northwest, and we are right together. And so for me, this is like coming home again and getting to see old friends again. So thank you, Jack, thank you for your invitation to come here. I need to say this to you that are parents, that are here. It was said before, thank you for what you do. But what I had forgotten was your dedication to maintaining and fostering the arts in your children. A school this size in the United States, unless it was extremely special, would not have an auditorium like this. A school in the United States that was this size wouldn't even begin to have an orchestra at all, let alone one that sounded like the one that we just heard a moment ago. And that's because of your dedication and your dedication. And the way that you have, the way that the students behind me were dedicated, were engaged, were professional. They were still kids, but they were wonderful, wonderful people. I had forgotten about that. And so you've reminded me again about the privilege that I've had to come to your beautiful country. And thank you. It was great to be here. So thank you, parents, and these students behind me. And I have saved the best for last, because Minju Son is sitting at the piano and has been our guide, has been our inspiration. She's been our orchestra. She has been all of those things to us, and for me now, a very, very great friend. But I hope that you help me thank her for all that she has done for us. I am pleased to introduce to you, and he will come out a little bit later on, Mr. Andrew Kim is a senior at Seoul Foreign School. His director is Mr. Tom Ford, and he's going to be the tenor soloist on Russian Picnic. So we're going to sing a song that's called Russian Picnic, and you know what? I think you will enjoy it. Thank you very much for letting me be here.
Good evening, I'm Sophie Holbrook from Asia Pacific International School, and it is my pleasure to serve KAIMEA as the Band Division Chair. Over this past week, we have seen Dr. Travis Cross work with several of the schools, and then for the past 2 days with this band on stage. I have seen these students grow so much, and you will hear their music tonight as a result of all the work that they've been doing. They've been under the conducting of Dr. Travis Cross, who joins us from UCLA, where he is an associate professor of music. He conducts the Wind Ensemble, the symphonic band, and directs the graduate conducting program. Also, very unique to our band, this is our first time we've had a Korean-born conductor. When he arrived in Incheon Airport on Wednesday morning, it was his first time to Seoul since he was a baby. So please give a hometown welcome to Dr. Travis Cross.
Good evening, and thank you for being with us tonight. I say this every time I conduct a concert. You have lots of choices for what you can do with your time. There are lots of places you could be and lots of things that you can be doing, and the fact that you choose to spend that time here supporting music, supporting young people, supporting education, is very meaningful to us and means a great deal. We opened with a European piece, a march from the 19th century called the Radetzky March, written by Johann Strauss Sr. This is the father of the guy who wrote all of the famous waltzes, the Blue Danube and other pieces like that. But it's a staple in Vienna on New Year's Eve. If you watch that concert on television from the Vienna Philharmonic, you'll hear the Radetzky March, and a wonderful old-time piece of music. We're going to follow it up now with something newer, a piece that's about 10 years old, and it is by Frank Ticheli, who is an American composer who lives in California, teaches at the University of Southern California, which is right across town from us at UCLA. And if you go to band concerts, you probably hear music by Frank Ticheli, because he's one of the great Americans writing, and he's written music for the professional players, for the best university ensembles down to elementary and middle school. So there's something for everyone from Frank Ticheli. This piece is called Joy Revisited. It's based on a tune that came to him around the time of the birth of his first child. So if you can picture a rambunctious little toddler running around the house, there's a little bit of that in this piece, Joy Revisited. Where the rest of the program is all American music, but there are a couple Korean connections in the next couple pieces. The next one is a piece that I wrote about 4 or 5 years ago for the Indiana Bandmasters Association, and I wrote it in honor of my grandmother, who at the time was suffering from Alzheimer's disease, which of course is a terrible illness that is rampant around the world. And I wanted to write a piece that had to do with memory, that had to do with nostalgia. And so I went and I found the Indiana State Song, which is a song called On the Banks of the Wabash Far Away. And I took a couple little bits of that song and I placed it in this piece. It's mostly original music by me, but there are a couple of little callbacks to kind of an earlier time, perhaps a simpler time, and it's a nod to those wonderful memories in our lives. So this piece is called Memento. Well, we are about to end our portion of the evening, and actually end the concert. And this is the longest piece in our program. It's about 6 or 7 minutes long, I believe. And it's an old band favorite called Variations on a Korean Folk Song, which I'll talk about in a moment. My colleagues here today have shared wonderful thoughts about the value of what's happening here, both in terms of a festival like this, but also in terms of the everyday experience that these students have making music. And I just wanted to add a very brief thought about that, which is that we talk a lot about how music makes students smarter. There's all kinds of research that says their test scores go up, their grades go up, their chances of getting into college go up, all kinds of things that show that music makes them smarter, for all the reasons that my colleagues talked about before. And I agree with that. I'm happy to support that, that conversation. But I'm more interested in the fact that music makes them better. It makes them smarter, but it makes them better. And the things that they learn from having the discipline to work on an instrument, having the ability to collaborate and compromise with a bunch of other people, to come together. 2 days ago, this band, this choir, this orchestra didn't exist. So for them to come together in a day and a half and create something like this is a testament to the work ethic, the flexibility, and the energy that requires. And most importantly, they learn to appreciate beauty and to create beauty, and hopefully to look for beauty in our world and add to it. So music makes them smarter, but music makes them better. And it's a thrill to be part of that process, along with the teachers who are here, Sophie Holbrook and all the other people in the band world here who have done such a wonderful job preparing these students and hosting us and doing all the hard work that is involved in getting this together. The people here at the school, the people in all these school systems who have made such incredible contributions, we thank them and we join them in this celebration of music. The Variations on a Korean Folk Song was written by John Barnes Chance in either the late 60s or early 70s. It's based on Arirang, which is a tune that should be familiar to everyone. It's a theme and variations, so there's about 5 or 6 permutations of this music, and it has a very exciting ending. So we leave you tonight with the Variations on a Korean Folk Song. Wish you all the best for a great year, a great Lunar New Year, and hope to see you back here in Korea sometime in the future. Thank you.
Thank you again for coming. We've reached the conclusion of tonight's concert. A lot of people have been thanked, a lot of people have been recognized. As we end tonight, we would like to recognize one group of people who we have not. This is the 4th year we have had a KAIAC-KIMEA Honor Festival in which students for all groups had to audition to be in the group. I'm thinking there are probably some band and orchestra and choir kids who have been on this stage 4 times in a row. If you are a student who has been here 4 years in a row, band, orchestra, choir, will you stand, please? Don't be shy. I know. Give these folks a huge hand. Again, thank you all very much. Good evening. I'm sorry, wait. Oops, one thing. Forgot one important thing. Excuse me. Turn it over to you guys. You ready?
Can we have all tonight's conductors come on stage, please? It is remarkable the work that these 3 gentlemen have done with our students, and we have a very, very small token of appreciation for them. We have a trophy, and we also have a Korean gift of some Celadon pottery, and they are bubble wrap. We're not going to show you because they're packed up ready for the airplane. But thank you so much, and it is without your very hard work that we cannot have this tonight, so thank you so much.